Next day of sitting. The clerk.
Private members' business. Notice number 5, National Integrity Parliamentary Standards Bill 2018.
The member for Indi.
Deputy Speaker, I present the National Integrity Parliamentary Standards Bill 2018 and the explanatory memorandum.
The clerk. Sorry.
First reading, a bill for an act to enhance the integrity of the Parliament of Australia and for related purposes.
The member for Indi.
Colleagues, I move this bill be read a second time. This bill is a part of a package of bills to promote public trust and confidence in the integrity of Parliament, the public sector and our system of government. The package is about creating a culture of integrity, a proactive and solutions-focused approach to preventing corruption. And this package will implement option 3 of the Transparency International and Griffith University papers Strengthening Australia's National Integrity System, Priorities for Reform. The bill will operate alongside the National Integrity Commission Bill 2018, which I introduced into this place last week. The bill incorporates aspects and builds on the work of others, and I'd particularly like to acknowledge the work of the Committee of Privileges and Members' Interest report into the Draft Code of Conduct for Members of Parliament 2011 in the 43rd Parliament, and the work of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association's recommended benchmarks for Code of Conduct applying to Members of Parliament 2015. The intent of this package is to create a nationally coordinated integrity framework with an emphasis on prevention, supported by strong powers of investigation to enable criminal charges or other actions in response to cases of corruption. And what will this bill do? This bill focuses on values and a code of conduct. The bill sets out the values that parliamentarians hold, as well as a code of conduct. And this includes having respect for others, regardless of background, dealing with conflicts of interest, using positions for profit, outside employment, accepting gifts or hospitalities, use of influence and use of public resources. The Code requires that a parliamentarian must ensure that their conduct as a parliamentarian does not bring discredit upon the Parliament. The values and Code of Conduct are based on the recommendations of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, of which this Parliament is a member. The CPA recommendations are based on extensive research, including by Queensland's Fitzgerald Royal Commission, the UK Nolan Committee on Standards in Public Life, and original research on the Codes of Conduct commissioned by the CPA, led by Adjunct Professor Ken Coghill. The bill places the register of interest the bill places the registers of interest into legislation, and these are unchanged. This move is ahead of further reviews to lobby and post-separation employment and regulation of donations and campaign regulation that are established by this bill. And the intent is to eventually have all parliamentary integrity functions operating under a single framework. The Parliamentary Integrity Advisor will be established as an independent office of this Parliament. Their role will be to provide independent confidential advice to parliamentarians and our staff about ethics of integrity issues. And this model is based on the work of the Committee of Privileges and Members' Interest in the 43rd Parliament and on the operations of the Queensland Integrity Act. The Parliamentary Standards Commissioner will be an independent office of the Parliament. Their role will be to investigate alleged or suspected breaches of a code of conduct, including a parliamentary code of conduct, and at the request of a minister, including the Prime Minister, to investigate alleged or suspected breaches of the ministerial code of conduct, and at the request of a presiding officer or a committee of a House of the Parliament, investigate and report on any matters related to ethical and integrity standards among parliamentarians or our staff. The Commissioner will be independent and report through the relevant Privileges Committee or Minister or the Prime Minister, depending on the origin of the referral. The Parliamentary Standards Commissioner will have the powers of the Auditor-General in conducting investigations, and any person will be able to make referrals to the Commissioners, but the Commissioner can determine how to deal with the referrals. And if there is a question of corruption beyond a breach of a code of conduct, the Commissioner may refer the matter to the National Integrity Commission. The drafting of this bill was a collaboration with some of Australia's leading thinkers, strengthening the integrity of Parliament, and I do acknowledge the assistance of the Honourable Dr Ken Coghill, born in Mansfield in my electorate, and former councillor at Wodonga, both in the Indi electorate. He is an Associate Professor at Monash University and Adjunct Professor at Swinburne University. And Ken is a member of the Government's Open Government Forum, founding member of the Accountability Roundtable and former Speaker of the Legislative Assembly of Victoria. He was the lead author of the Code of Conduct recommendations adopted by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. I also acknowledge the work of Professor AJ Brown and Transparency International, and thank them for their support in pulling together this package of reforms. Without their support, we would not have been able to put together such a simple but comprehensive package. And I would also like to acknowledge to the House of Representatives the legislative drafter, and I cannot speak highly enough about the support given to us by drafters. But to Olivia Gossip, thank you for the hours, the time, the energy and the professional skill you've brought to this bill. And acknowledging my own staff who have worked long and hard on this work, but particularly to acknowledge my political and parliamentary advisor, Jeremy. Thank you very much for your work. All the bills presented today and the work have been done with those two, in particular, excellent staff. But, colleagues, what I really want to say in bringing my comments to a close is what will it take for this parliament to introduce a code of conduct and surrounding legislation. We have been at this since 2012. 2012. We on the crossbench know how important it is, but our communities know how important it is. Industry knows how important it is. And to think that we operate in this House without a code of conduct, without an understanding of what it actually means to be a politician, and without the resources that we need to get advice on sometimes very tricky ethical issues, and then, if need be, to take steps further on corruption. To me, it's an absolute no-brainer. And I say to the government, what will it take for you in this term of parliament to do what everybody's asking of you, to step up to the plate and give us the legislation we need? I know you find it difficult. I know, government, you want to argue with me about definitions, but we're up to that. We're grown-ups. We're happy to have the debate in this parliament, but we need our colleagues on the other side to step up, to actually front up that we haven't got a code of conduct and that we need them. And, Deputy Speaker, I'd now like my colleague from the crossbench, the member for Mayo, to make her comments in support of this as a seconder of the motion.
I thank the member for Indi. Is the motion seconded? I call the member for Mayo.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I am pleased to second this motion and the bill of the member for Indi. There is a huge body of work that she has done with this bill and also the National Integrity Commission bill. And this is important. At some point, this place needs to step forward and do the right thing, because right now the Australian public thinks very little of us, all of us. They lump us all in the same boat, whether we spend $38,000 on our internet at home or not. They think we are all the same, that we all have our snouts in the trough, that we are all here, we are self-serving. They believe we are guided by self-interest, vested interests, or the interests of our donors. They believe that this is a horrible place to work. It is a place with bullying and poor behaviour. Every time I meet with a school, and I meet with at least 2 schools a week, after I've given a talk about what it's like to be the member for Mayo and how exciting this role is, I say to the students, would you like to be the future member for Mayo? We need people with a heart and a mind. and no hands go up. They believe this is not a good job. They want to have a job where they're respected. And unfortunately, the behaviour of many people in this place has let all of us down. I commend the member for Indi for this work. This is a huge body of work, and if we want the Australian community to trust us again, if we want the Australian community to believe us again and to hold us with high regard, then we need to do the work in this place in order for this to happen. And I urge government and opposition, get behind this. We can't continue to have stories in the media where people are accepting free flights or bags of Rolexes, as I said, or $38,000 worth of internet that they just happen to pay back, so it's all okay now. No, it's not okay. Our behaviour in this place needs to lift. We need to treat each other with respect, and we need to treat the Australian community with respect in order for that to change. And so I commend this bill to the House, and I look forward to working with the Parliament.
Member for